So in this session, we are going to talk about journalism and social change. Let's look at what is the correlation between journalism and social change as a process, and how does it help us to understand or gain some sort of a foundational understanding about the complexities of the relationship that exists between journalism as an institution or as a process, and then social change over a period of time. What does it enable? How journalism becomes a tool for social change, so on and so forth. In a vibrant democracy, journalism and media have the power and responsibility to both inform and inspire the public to action. Achieving this requires a deeper understanding of current social problems, and this policy is formulated alongside the ability to tell stories in a manner that drives an otherwise apathetic public into action. What does this thing mean? It means that when political action is required, usually what happens is you don't find too many people being involved in that process. And this is where there is a lack of force. There's a lack of force that drives all of us together into a certain action. For any kind of change to begin or to happen, from individuals to collective, we require some sort of mobility and thought, mobility of thought and action to drive in the kind of changes that we require. Especially when you are living in a democratic setup, where you are required as civil citizens to actively participate, engage, and see what comes out of it, what comes out of that process. And this is where journalism steps in as a very critical process, crucial for an understanding of how we can take it towards the process of vibrancy. C, how we can B, how we can initiate some sort of social change that is required in our society to move a crowd which is otherwise inactive, voiceless. And that sort of a population is a lot more than the ones who are in power, the ones who has access to information, to wealth, to network, to everything at their disposal. So when there are social problems, there must be some sort of a policy level discussion that must happen within the public for some sort of positive social action. So to initiate public social action, which is positive in nature, we require people to have some sort of understanding about how journalism contributes to that initiation process. What journalism does is it creates a platform to help enable tell stories in a manner that can drive the inactive audience, that can drive the passive audience into action. Social change intends to leave each media consumer, especially the youth. The reason why I'm focusing on the youth or highlighting on the youth is they are the future of this nation, any nation for that matter. They are the ones with vibrant ideas. They're the ones which work as a bridging gap between the previous generation and the forthcoming one. And they're the ones who are born into a technocratic society. If you look at the shift that has happened over a period of time, from being an agrarian one to an industrial one to now a technocratic one, you guys are a part of the technocratic society. Our parents were a part of the industrial society. Their parents were part of, or your forefathers were a part of the agrarian society. So the gradual shift in economy has also brought in different kind of mindsets and attitude within people. The other day when I was saying that, your parents were a lot more involved, or your grandparents were a lot more involved in the social political movement of this country than you. And I'm talking in a very generalized sense. Try and understand the sociological differences between a generation and the next one. How they consume media primarily is radically different than how you consume media. Your engagement with journalism is far more active and immediate than theirs. They had less at their disposal, hence they were a lot more conscious in terms of consumption. If you would ask your parents and their parents how involved they were, their involvement came from maybe one source, but they would dissect the material, journalistic material, the news stories, the features, the editorials far more than you do. And they would debate and discuss. And in public, in a civil society, these kind of discussions matter. When you lay open every story that concerns you and me, then you are far more engaged in a critical sense to evaluate the story and see what kind of outcome it can drive. News stories can drive political changes. It can lead mass movements. That is the reason why, if you look at all the freedom fighters, majority of them, they had their own newspapers back in the day, because they constantly felt the necessity to stay connected with the public, inform them about what is happening regarding the freedom movement. So that becomes an informational network to reach out to people. Here in our case, what must happen is that the youth should be the player in promulgating policy reforms. What does that mean, promulgating policy reforms? That you must be the active player to bring in some sort of change. Change at a policy level, not just at individual level where you are going and helping a community, which is great. But as individuals or as smaller units, we can't take care of the larger issues of the society, not all the time. We require the establishment to take notice of that. We require the dispensation to start understanding and bring in policy level changes. So for policy level changes to happen, policy level reforms to happen regarding issues which concerns the vulnerable and the underprivileged in the society. Because the otherwise privileged class are okay. You and me are not struggling on a daily basis to survive. How frequently we face economic discrimination, social discrimination? We don't. Mostly we don't. Because we are privileged enough, we are educated, we have reached this stage. Thankfully, our parents have brought us in a way where we can manage to survive. Whereas there is a sizable amount of population who can't fight for themselves because their daily struggle is existential in nature. They don't have that kind of privileges that we have. So what needs to happen? If we require social reforms, what needs to happen is this population must undergo transformation. And for this population to undergo transformation, there must be policies, there must be scopes, opportunities for them. So every kind of discussion through the journalistic media must be targeted and driven for that. That's where social act change can spring forth into action. Further, the umbrella of media and social change allows us to explore the broad but deeply interwoven policy areas concerning what? Concerning communities, poverty, public health care, education, children and women protection, judicial and administrative reforms. Please let me know if I'm missing out on anything, but this is broadly what concerns our society when we talk about societal changes. If a society has to undergo some sort of transformation, which is sociological in nature, which is economic in nature, it is crucial that we pay attention to these areas, right? Poverty is a concern of this country. Population is a concern of this country. So is public healthcare system. How many of you prefer to go to government hospitals? When you have to go, you dread, right? You can't stand the stench. You can't stand the way the administration happens there. You are always in a queue for forever. And you look around, you realize that people are in a far vulnerable, difficult conditions than you are. And more so when you can afford, then you must. But remember, majority of the population goes to public hospitals, goes to government hospitals. They can't afford private clinic charges. So it is they who need more care and attention and require policy level changes. Clear this part? Through precise, rigorous reporting and policy analysis, students of journalism, who are students of journalism, you and me, we are students of journalism. Even the journalists are students of journalism as practicing professionals. Through precise, rigorous reporting and policy analysis. Rigorous reporting, telling the stories time and again from multiple point of view, from different perspectives, that you are engaging in bringing social action, which is a far drawn process. Remember that you have to bring it to the notice of people who otherwise ignore this kind of stories. So it's your passion and your commitment towards policy analysis, towards reporting that can substantially contribute to the public discourse on this issue of social change regarding different sectors that I just spoke about. And by the virtue of that contribution, it can drive political will towards positive policy solutions to the merit social issues concerning civil citizen. Positive social solutions. These are the highlights that we must keep in mind. These are things that matter. Public Positive public policy solutions would be better healthcare system, would be better educational structure, where school dropouts are less and more people are eager to pursue education. Understand, that's why I said the other day that it's an economical issue to begin with. If you are hungry, nothing goes into your mind. If you are struggling for next course of the meal, then your primary thing is survival. Food, clothes, shelter. This is taken care of. The next two things that are important is healthcare and education. These five things, if a dispensation takes care of, the population is in a much better state to cognitively develop. If you and me, we are in a position to talk, to think, to understand, to analyze. We are being able to do so because our things are taken care of. Whether we take care of somebody else, that's a different. But for majority of the people who have to work throughout the day or work really hard just to survive, how do you think they will grow or evolve? The evolution is restricted, right? In developing countries, material resources are limited. What are material resources? Our infrastructure, the things, this kind of things. These are material resources, right? In developing countries and underdeveloped countries, material resources are limited and problems are far more complex. What kind of problems? We have more stomachs to feed than we have food. That's why if you look at the poverty index, the global poverty index, why are we at such a rank? As a country, we can't feed the population. That is not enough. Clear? About social movement in the age of globalization. Why are we talking about it? I'll tell you. About social movement in the age of globalization, it could be argued that the term globalization has become a dominant discourse of social, economic, and cultural developments in contemporary society. Everybody is talking about globalized world, connecting with rest of the world. Majority of the products that we are using are from brands which are born outside. In such sort of a scenario, how do we place social movement? And why is it important to discourses in social, economic, and cultural aspects of the society? In a country like India, the process of globalization has not only affected urban societies, but also it is influencing rural communities. This is all the more the reason why journalism plays a more significant role. And in the technocratic society, where news comes in app on news feeds, people who have access to device and internet connection can actually have access to information. And this information becomes crucial. If first you need to inform people, then they can make a choice whether they are misinformed or not. And remember, the ignorant mass will always be misinformed because it is easy to blind them. It is easy to blind them. And when you are blinded, you are unable to see through the difficult issues related to society, economy, and culture of a country. Majority of the times, what we understand as culture is not a culture. We're told many times, we are told that this is the tradition of our country. This is the tradition of my state. If everybody would have thought about the tradition of the country, would we have ever progressed? Would we have ever evolved? There was a time when you were not allowed, the females were not allowed to enter into classrooms. There was no education for women. And then there are people, social reformers and fighters who demanded education for everyone. And that's the reason of 100 years of struggle, 100 years later, people are being able to do so. Now, at least at the policy level, discrimination doesn't happen. Everybody has the right to pursue education. Now, to move that from policy document to action, ground level action needs to happen, which is where journalism and students of journalism play a larger role. And because we are in a globalized society, because we have access to technology, remember the rural communities are also simultaneously evolving. They're trying to catch up with the modern societies. If media can be used properly, it can accelerate growth rate at one hand. So there are two things here. One is the growth acceleration process. Other is to awaken people to sustainable development. What is sustainable development? The process of evolution, which is sustainable in nature. It's not rapid necessarily. It's something which is stable. If you start 20,000 schools in a day, and in next 5 months, the dropout rate is 80%, did you achieve what you envisioned? No. So along with building 20,000 schools, you must try to visualize how the students can come and stay in the school. Pursue education, because education is an ongoing process. It's a work in progress. It can't happen in phases. You can't self-study this year and won't study for next 3 years. Then there is a disruption. Then you are not catching on with the knowledge system, right? Happens. So two things are crucial here. One is that media must contribute to accelerate growth in the society. So when you talk about growth in the society, we are talking about social change in one way or the other, economic change in one way or the other. Then the other thing is informing people, making them aware about the policies of development, about the actions, about the organizations, about the initiatives, about whatever they as individuals can do and how they can contribute in a larger way to the communities. Remember, the process has a cascading effect. It must be 1 to 20, 20 to 100, 100 to 1000. That's how the effect must be. Many a times it would come up, this thought arises inside us that why should I do because others are not doing? Why should I stop using plastic? Because everybody else is doing. Why should I face inconvenience? But remember, the change always begins with the individual. If 30 people start thinking a more sustainable way to reduce carbon footprint on the earth, then those 30 can inspire 60. The 60 can inspire 120, so on and so forth. If 5 people wouldn't have thought about breaking away from colonial rule, we would have been still under British ruling, right? So the change agent lies within us. We can't look at the other and say that let her make the first move. She's also thinking in her mind, let her make the first move. What happens? No change occurs. So if change has to occur, you have to begin. And on the way, you will subconsciously continue to push people in the process of change. And this is precisely what media should do or media tries to do. Dennis Maxwell, who is a very popular media theorist, this has described media as an engine of change. You understand what an engine does, right? An engine contributes significantly for the mobility of a vehicle or the movement of a vehicle, not necessarily a physical, but it accelerates the process. So media can be symbolic of that engine. The question arises whether media is truly working as an engine of social change or not. So this is where you have to evaluate. That's why I had been reiterating the fact that you must consume media from multiple sources, media information, content from multiple sources, and then you would be in a critical position to evaluate whether the content that is provided to us is good enough, can work as a tool for social change or not. Media should come out of the infotainment syndrome. Okay, what does that mean? What does infotainment means? There are two words, right? Information and entertainment. Unless it steps out of that process, if media constantly thinks about being a platform for information and entertainment together, there is a lot more things media does. Media works as an advocacy tool. Media offers opportunity and scope to citizens to express their views and opinions. And when mainstream media doesn't do so, alternative media comes into picture to drive in a process of social change, to continue engaging in the process of socialization. As author Asa Berger, another media analyst, has opined, what is important about informal socialization is that people generally do not recognize that they are being taught what roles to play and how to play them, what values to espouse and what attitudes to have. what goals to strive for, and so on. The specific role that media can play in a country like India can be very well examined here. If you look at the scenario of India at this point in time, the socio-cultural situation of India, we would know what values are being driven, what are we governed by, what sort of role we are assigned, what sort of role we are supposed to play as change agents. Unless media plays that role of creating that awareness, of self-recognizing, uh, of helping people self-recognize their roles and responsibilities in society, it can't happen. Indian communication media must develop new models to encompass action, communication, and transformation. These three are crucial. Okay, action, everything that we do; communication, everything that we speak about through the written word as well as orally; and transformation. Your action driven by your ideas to communicate can transform the society. Is that it has been rightly observed that useful models must focus on people at the grassroots, enabling them to become self-reliant. Those people who are at the lowest rung of the society, who are in villages, who are in rural communities, they must become self-reliant in nature, that they must be able to take care of themselves, speak for themselves, and directly to the power elite. Who are the power elite? The governing elite, the military elite, the journalistic elite, those people who are in the higher power position of the society, those people who are in the lowest rung of the society, they must be able to directly communicate with them, express their concerns, talk about the kind of changes that are required and how those people can simultaneously contribute together. The responsible citizens of India must be elevated to come up with initiatives to counter social problems of the distressed communities. Those people who lack access, lack opportunities, are less privileged, somebody needs to talk for them constantly. So use the media, use the power of media to reach out to more number of people, start talking, debating, discussing about issues that concern them and in turn concern us. Because we are not alone in the society, right? So I'll stop here and we'll continue in the next session. Thank you.